Let's take a look at some playoff pictures, not with the NFC restart, but with the AFC. Taking a look here, the Patriots, Titans, and Chiefs, as you can see, are atop the AFC. They all are at 9-4. The Patriots hold the tiebreaker because they have a 7-1 record in conference. Things equally tight at the bottom. I think this is interesting. 5 teams tied at 7-6. Steelers at 6-1. Dolphins and Raiders a game back at 6-7. So the byes are over. A lot of teams on the outside looking in. They want to hop the column over to the left. Which team are you guys watching the final 4 weeks of the season closely that can make a move, good or bad?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the team that you saw in person on Sunday, the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm really curious what they have left in the tank. They've got a really hard schedule, but they do have this young, vibrant quarterback with these great receivers, and they're close, but are they just not there this year? They have to wait another year. Do they get over the hump? Do they make it happen? Do they go on a run? There's still 4 weeks left to them to decide their own fate. 2 home losses in December back-to-back. Tough to stomach, though, with what they've got up ahead.
Look at this, Peter. The next team they play is the Denver Broncos, and I got my eye on Denver. Have you seen these guys run the ball? It's awesome.
Great.
It's really, really awesome. And it's not just one guy. They got Javonte. They got Melvin, who had a huge game last week. They don't really talk about because it's kind of under the radar. This guy, Mike Boone. They got the offensive line. Teddy Bridgewater starting to take care of the ball. He's thrown 2 picks in the last 6 games. They got wins over the Chargers recently. They got wins over the Cowboys recently. If you start to pay attention to who gets hot when, they're hot right now. They run the bejesus out of it, and they play defense. They've got this whole emotional thing going with what happened with Demaryius Thomas. Totally respect. I don't want to play Denver right now. That is all of a sudden a really good game.
It's a great game.
Bengals, Broncos. Who would have thought in Denver? I'm taking Denver in that game right now. Brian, who do you like?
Well, that's going to be tough.
I know.
It's going to be tough to go to Denver. It's always tough to go to Denver. The team that I have my eye on to is actually the Bengals.
Yeah.
And here's why. I think there's so much parity. I feel like no team, all those teams, Baltimore and Cleveland, with Cincy, they're all sort of hanging around. And I think that the Bengals, with a push, can make the playoffs. I really do. There's so much parity there in the AFC, especially. There's so much open.
Maybe they win the division. I'm keeping my eyes on Lamar Jackson. His status, of course, is meaningful along the way. We'll have Mike Garafolo update us on that. If we look at the NFC playoff picture, guys, the Packers are the 1 seed in the NFC. The Cardinals lost last night, so they can thank them and send them a thank you card for that. Green Bay, Tampa, Arizona, they're tied 10-3 atop the conference. And just like that, or just as we saw in the AFC, guys, it's wide open in the wild card. Niners are in the 6th seed. They're at 7-6. They beat the Bengals, of course. Washington holds the 7th seed for now, winning a 5-way tiebreaker with the other 6 and 7 teams. So, Peter, who are you looking at here?
There's only one team in that last column. This includes Seattle that has an MVP quarterback, and that's Matt Ryan. I have no idea what the Falcons are week to week. Sometimes they lose to the Cowboys by 40, and then they go and they beat a team like the Panthers handedly on Sunday in their building. Falcons, really interesting. Matt Ryan has been there. He has been to a Super Bowl. They pay him a lot of money. They're not there to miss the playoffs. They're looking to make the playoffs. I think Atlanta's really interesting.
I love Philadelphia. They're coming off a bye. We haven't seen them in a while. They've won 3 out of 4. I'll say the same thing I said about the Broncos. Have you seen the way the Eagles run the ball? And, Brian, I have to ask you, it's this random coincidence that you're here. I don't know if you've gotten a load of Nick Sirianni, their head coach, but for weeks now, having nothing to do with you, we've said he has this Michael Scott-type quality where he starts sentences where he doesn't know where they're going to finish, and yet he kind of has the employees believing in him, and I'm one of them.
Interesting. I go to the Saints.
Okay.
Let's go!
I think in the NFC, likely six of the seeds have been decided. And I think sort of leaves Washington, certainly the Eagles, but I think the Saints as well. I think their defense, their toughness, coaching gives them the edge.
It was against the Jets, but do you feel better seeing what you saw out of Alvin Kamara? As far as
I mean, Kamara is one of the superheroes. We'll see. They got to win. It was against the Jets, but Kamara changes the whole deal for them.
More Good Morning Football on the